Stop for a moment. Before you move past this message, hear these words carefully. Archangel Michael is calling out to you right now because heaven has been trying again and again to get your attention, yet every single time you turned away too quickly. Do not ignore this moment again. Something powerful is already moving toward your life faster than you realize. Stay here. Do not leave. A life-changing breakthrough is much closer than it appears. Listen carefully, because at this exact second, while you are reading these words, a divine signal is reaching directly toward your spirit from heaven itself. Archangel Michael is warning you that the final moments before your shift have already begun. This is not fear speaking. This is destiny unfolding. These moments are not about disaster. They are about transformation. They are about the divine timing that has been forming around your life for longer than you know. Heaven has been attempting to speak to you through signs you almost overlooked. There were moments that felt unusual, dreams that stayed in your mind long after waking, strange feelings that settled deep in your chest, unexpected conversations that echoed in your spirit for days. Those moments were never random. Those were invitations from above. Right now, everything around your spiritual life is shifting. The noise of the world is being silenced so heaven can finally reach your heart clearly. This is not another ordinary message appearing by accident. This moment was prepared long before you arrived here. Before your first breath, this encounter was already written into your story. Heaven knew this exact second would come. That is why your spirit feels restless. That is why something inside you refused to scroll away. Some of you have sensed it already. You felt that strange pressure in your spirit late at night. You suddenly woke up unable to sleep. Staring into darkness while your heart beat harder than usual, you tried to explain it away. You blamed stress, exhaustion, anxiety, or overthinking. But deep down, your spirit knew there was something more happening. Heaven was attempting to break through the distractions surrounding your life. Archangel Michael was standing near you, trying to awaken you to the breakthrough that has been waiting behind the scenes. Every time those moments came, you pushed them aside. You ignored the whispers meant specifically for your soul. Yet even after being ignored, heaven continued reaching for you because your purpose has not been cancelled. Your destiny still carries weight. There is still an assignment attached to your name. There is still a blessing waiting for the exact moment you finally listen. At this very moment, Archangel Michael is standing between you and a breakthrough so rare that it could completely redirect the course of your future. This is not small. This is not temporary. This is the kind of shift that changes everything. That is why you cannot leave yet. The moment you are living through right now is sacred. Heaven is reopening communication with your spirit. Something unusual is already approaching your life, and your soul can feel it, even if your mind does not understand it yet. Take a slow breath and remain here. This moment carries revelation. Opportunities like this do not come often. If you walk away now, you may miss the very thing heaven arranged specifically for you. Archangel Michael says your answered prayer is already prepared. Your restoration is prepared. Your long-awaited turnaround is standing closer than ever before. But your spirit must be willing to receive it. If this message is reaching your heart, type Amen in the comments as an act of agreement with heaven. Let your spirit respond to what God is preparing. Every second you stay connected to this message brings you closer to the breakthrough already moving in your direction. Do not leave now, because what comes next is the reason heaven fought so hard to get your attention. What is approaching your life is not ordinary. It is sacred. It is powerful. It is reserved for the person who finally stopped running from the call. Something massive is beginning to unfold around your destiny. Archangel Michael sees that your heart is finally becoming ready. Ready to hear truth, ready to understand why your spirit has felt different lately. The unexpected event approaching your life is not coincidence. It is divine timing unfolding exactly when it was always meant to happen. The countdown is not leading toward fear. It is leading toward your breakthrough. It is leading toward the moment your life finally shifts into alignment with what heaven prepared for you long ago. Can you feel the atmosphere changing around you? Something inside your spirit already recognizes that this moment matters. Heaven sees what you cannot see yet. The blessings you believed were still far away are already beginning to move toward your life now. That is why this message feels so heavy in your chest. That is why Archangel Michael keeps urging you to remain here. A door is opening before you spiritually. If you walk away too soon, you could miss the moment meant to change everything. There is a powerful blessing moving directly toward your name. Something sudden, beautiful, and unstoppable is already being released. Do not treat this like another random message online. This is too important to ignore. Share this message with someone whose spirit needs encouragement. Let heaven use you to remind another person that they have not been forgotten. Stay connected and continue listening, because the blessing racing toward your future is moving faster than you realize. Your breakthrough is no longer distant. Every second brings it closer. Archangel Michael has been guiding you toward this moment for longer than you know. What is about to happen will completely surprise you. Think about it carefully. You did not remain here accidentally. Something inside you recognized this message immediately. Your spirit leaned closer because heaven has been calling your name repeatedly. Archangel Michael says you are closer now than ever before. The shift that has been chasing you through months of waiting is finally catching up with you. Stay focused, because what comes next carries freedom. Heaven has been preparing a moment that will release you from confusion, fear, delay, and spiritual exhaustion. That pressure you have been feeling recently is not meaningless. That strange emotional weight inside your chest is confirmation that heaven is moving near your situation. Nothing about this encounter is random. This moment was planned with divine intention. Even now, behind the scenes, circumstances are shifting in ways you cannot yet recognize. Something unexpected is preparing to enter your life suddenly. What you thought would take years could happen much sooner than expected. Archangel Michael says a message is being delivered directly into your spirit. If you leave now, you may miss the opportunity heaven has opened specifically for your future. This is your season for restoration. This is your season for miracles. This is your season for the sudden turnaround you cried over in private. Remain here, because heaven is carefully guiding you toward a moment you were never supposed to miss. Your heart can already feel something changing. Archangel Michael is closer than ever before, reminding you that your blessing is already moving. This is not just another inspirational message. This is the exact moment heaven has been trying to bring you into. Your destiny is drawing near with every second you stay connected. Very soon, You will understand why your spirit refused to let you leave. You have no idea how close you are now. Everything is beginning to align. The breakthrough that once seemed impossible is finally forming. The peace you prayed for is beginning to settle over your life. The blessing that felt delayed is no longer being withheld. A moment is approaching that could permanently change the next chapter of your story. This shift is not coming someday in the distant future. It is already moving toward you right now. Heaven is stepping directly into your situation. As you continue listening, send this message to someone who has been struggling spiritually. Encourage them not to give up. Encourage them not to lose faith in the middle of waiting. Archangel Michael says your blessing is now closer than your doubt. Very soon, your spirit will finally understand why heaven kept calling your name over and over again. The miracle you never saw coming is beginning to appear. Stay still, my beloved child, because heaven is pulling every broken piece of your story together. Those delays you never understood had purpose. Those closed doors that frustrated you were protection. Those unanswered prayers were not rejection. Heaven was arranging timing, positioning, and preparation for this exact season of your life. You have been chosen for something far greater than you realize. That deep feeling inside you that change is approaching is not your imagination. The restlessness you cannot explain is confirmation that heaven is already moving. Archangel Michael has been clearing obstacles that you never even knew existed. While you were waiting, heaven was working, and now the breakthrough is finally arriving. Understand this clearly. The fact that you are still here means something. It is confirmation that your spirit recognizes this moment. Heaven does not waste divine appointments. Every second you remain connected moves your blessing closer. Some of you have spent years wandering through painful seasons. You kept waiting for change while carrying disappointment after disappointment. It has been exhausting. There were moments when isolation became unbearable. There were nights when you questioned your purpose completely. You watched others succeed while your prayers seemed delayed. You watched people receive opportunities that you begged heaven for. You celebrated others while silently wondering if your own breakthrough would ever arrive. You smiled publicly while hurting privately. You kept trusting while circumstances screamed against your faith. Some of you nearly gave up completely because the waiting became too painful. But hear this now. Heaven never forgot you. Not one tear escaped God's attention. Not one lonely night went unseen. Not one prayer disappeared unanswered. Even in silence, heaven was still moving on your behalf. The delay was never denial. The waiting season was preparing you for a blessing larger than you imagined. Archangel Michael says the season of wandering is ending. The heavy doors are beginning to open. The battle surrounding your spirit is changing. The breakthrough you thought would never come is finally arriving at your doorstep. Remain faithful for a little longer, because what is coming next will restore what exhaustion tried to steal from you. The shift is already happening. Heaven is already moving. And your life is about to enter a chapter you once believed was impossible. You keep asking yourself if the voice you once believed came from heaven was only your imagination. Deep down, there have been moments when you wondered whether the promise was ever genuine, or if your heart simply created something it desperately wanted to believe. After waiting this long, after watching year after year pass without visible change, You started thinking maybe you should lower your expectations and accept less than what was placed in your spirit. There were nights when you questioned whether God still remembered you at all. You prayed until your throat felt dry and still heard no answer. You poured your heart out over and over again. Yet the silence around you only seemed to grow louder. You planted seeds of faith repeatedly and saw no evidence that anything was growing beneath the surface. You declared promises until they began to sound distant even to your own ears. You did everything you knew how to do, and still your circumstances refused to move the way you hoped they would. But what looked like delay was never abandonment. What appeared to be silence was never absence. While you believed nothing was changing, heaven was arranging things behind the scenes in ways you could not yet understand. Every season that felt empty was actually filled with preparation. Every closed entrance was protection in disguise. That opportunity you cried over losing would have eventually drained the life out of you. That position you begged for would have trapped you in frustration and regret. That relationship you thought you needed would have slowly dimmed the light inside your soul. That door shutting was not punishment. It was preservation. Heaven kept you from walking into places that would have destroyed the future waiting for you. Timing mattered more than you realized. Had your desires arrived too early, the version of you back then would not have carried the weight of what is approaching now. You needed those difficult seasons to develop endurance. You needed isolation to build deeper faith. You needed uncertainty to strengthen your character. Every painful chapter added something valuable to your spirit. The tears you shed in secret taught you compassion for wounded people. The moments you survived with almost nothing trained you to trust beyond visible evidence. The loneliness you carried forced you to discover that heaven never actually left your side. The battles you fought without quitting revealed strength you never knew existed inside you. And now the message is changing. Archangel Michael says, your wandering season has reached its conclusion. The feeling of being overlooked is ending. The days of wondering if your breakthrough will ever arrive are coming to a close. What you prayed for is no longer somewhere far in the future. It is not years away. It is not waiting for another season. The shift has already begun. Even while you are hearing these words, movement is happening around your life. Doors are starting to unlock. Answers are beginning to travel toward you. The reason your spirit feels stirred is because something inside you recognizes truth before your mind fully understands it. Listen carefully, because what is coming into your life will unfold in three powerful ways. You must recognize them when they appear, so you do not dismiss the very thing heaven is sending. The first part is unexpected favor. Opportunities will appear without warning. Conversations that seem ordinary will suddenly become life-changing connections. People who never paid attention to you before will begin noticing your presence. Your name will reach places you have never stepped into. Individuals with influence will feel drawn to help you, and they themselves may not even understand why. Decisions will shift in your favor when it makes no logical sense. The breakthrough you struggled to force for years will begin happening naturally. Emails you assumed would be ignored will receive immediate responses. Invitations you never anticipated will arrive at exactly the right moment. Situations that once required endless striving will begin moving with unusual ease because heaven is going ahead of you. Archangel Michael is speaking your name in rooms you have not entered yet. Paths are being cleared before your arrival. Connections are forming before introductions are even made. The position you did not apply for may suddenly search for you. The opportunity you thought was impossible may land directly in your hands. Things that once seemed delayed forever will accelerate quickly, and you will realize that heaven can accomplish more in a single moment than human effort can produce in years. The second part is restoration beyond expectation. What was lost is not forgotten. Heaven saw every stolen opportunity, every broken dream, every painful disappointment. And now restoration is beginning. Not partial restoration, overflowing restoration. Dreams that died years ago will breathe again, but they will not return in the same condition they left. They will come back stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the person you have become. The vision you buried because life discouraged you is about to rise again with greater purpose attached to it. Certain relationships will heal. Not every connection from your past belongs in your future, but the ones heaven ordained will not remain broken forever. Hearts will soften. Conversations will happen that once seemed impossible. Apologies you stopped expecting may suddenly appear. Distance within families can begin to close. Misunderstandings that created separation can finally dissolve. The relationships that carried poison will remain gone, but the ones built with genuine purpose can be restored in healthier ways. Everything the enemy attempted to steal will be repaid. The opportunity you lost may be replaced with something far greater. The betrayal that shattered your trust will eventually lead you into love that feels safe and genuine. Financial losses that left you discouraged can be answered with provision that removes lack completely. Heaven knows how to return what was taken and multiply it beyond your expectations. The third part is supernatural peace. This is the blessing that may surprise you most because you became so familiar with anxiety that peace started feeling unnatural. For so long your mind has carried tension, your chest has held heaviness, your thoughts have raced endlessly, refusing to let you rest. Fear followed you through every transition. Worry sat beside you even during quiet moments. But that burden is beginning to break. The anxiety suffocating your spirit is not going to fade slowly over years. For many of you, it will lift suddenly. One day you will wake up and notice the heaviness is gone. Situations that once triggered fear will no longer control your emotions. Challenges that once paralyzed you will suddenly feel manageable. You will look at problems that once terrified you and realize you are standing there, calm, steady, and unshaken. The voice that constantly whispered, "You are too late, too broken, too weak, or too unqualified," is losing its power over you. Heaven is replacing those lies with truth. You will begin hearing affirmation where you once heard condemnation. Confidence will rise where insecurity once lived. Peace will settle into places inside you that have known only chaos. The weight you carried for years will finally fall away. Responsibilities that never belonged to you will no longer crush your shoulders. Shame from old mistakes will lose its grip on your identity. Guilt connected to things outside your control will disappear, and in place of exhaustion, you will feel lightness again. Joy will return. Hope will return. Strength that does not collapse under pressure will return, because heaven itself is sustaining you. But there is something important you must understand. This breakthrough is not connected to perfection. Too many people believe blessings are reserved only for flawless individuals. That is not true. Your mistakes did not cancel heaven's plans for your life. Your imperfections did not remove your worth. God does not abandon people because they struggled, failed, doubted, or fell short. Your value was established by heaven long before your failures ever happened. You do not have to pray with perfect words. You do not have to worship without weakness. You do not have to live without mistakes in order to receive what has been prepared for you. If perfection were required, nobody on earth would ever experience breakthrough. The key is not perfection. The key is alignment. Alignment means your spirit finally agrees with what heaven has already spoken over your future. It means releasing fear long enough to trust that delay was not denial. It means believing that what seemed impossible can still happen suddenly. Many people remain stuck, not because heaven rejected them, but because they stopped expecting anything good to happen. Discouragement convinced them to settle into survival instead of preparing for breakthrough. Do not let disappointment harden your heart now. You are too close to what you prayed for. You survived seasons that should have destroyed you. You endured nights that tested every ounce of faith you had left. Yet somehow heaven kept carrying you forward even when you could barely move. That was not accidental. There is purpose attached to your survival. Everything you walked through built the version of you needed for this next chapter. The tears, the silence, the waiting, the confusion, the battles nobody knew about. All of it shaped your spirit for what is arriving now. And what is arriving is greater than what you lost, greater than what you imagined, greater than what fear tried convincing you would never happen. So stop speaking as if your story is over. Stop calling yourself forgotten. Stop assuming heaven has abandoned your future. This is not the ending. This is the turning point. The breakthrough is closer than you think. The shift has already started moving. And the moment you choose to believe again, your spirit begins opening itself to receive everything heaven has been preparing for you all along. Stop for a moment and listen carefully, because this message was not placed in front of you by coincidence. There is a reason your attention was drawn here at this exact time. Out of countless distractions, endless videos, and constant noise pulling at your focus, something deeper urged you to stay. That feeling inside you is not random. It is spiritual. It is divine direction leading you into a moment that could change everything if you are willing to remain attentive long enough to receive it. Many people pray for blessings, ask for miracles, and hope for open doors, yet very few understand that timing matters just as much as desire. A person can be fully prepared for success and still lose the opportunity because their spirit was disconnected from heaven's movement. Readiness alone is not enough. You must also move in harmony with the season heaven has appointed for you. There are moments when divine opportunities appear quietly, and if your attention is somewhere else, you can walk right past what was meant to transform your life. True alignment happens when your spirit becomes aware of what heaven is doing in the present moment. Not yesterday, not months from now, right now. Too many souls spend their days trapped between regret and fear. Some are replaying old pain over and over again, while others are consumed by anxiety about tomorrow. Meanwhile, heaven is already moving in the current moment, opening doors, arranging encounters, shifting circumstances, and preparing answers. But if your heart is absent, you cannot recognize what has already begun. Think about how often you felt led to pause and listen to a message, watch something meaningful, or lean into a spiritual prompting, yet you postponed it for another time. You told yourself you would come back later, when life became less busy. You convinced yourself tomorrow would be better. But tomorrow came with new distractions, new worries, and new responsibilities, and the moment passed unnoticed. What you did not realize is that some messages arrive carrying keys attached to them. Some words contain direction for your next season. Some moments are heaven's invitation to step into a higher level of purpose. Yet countless people scroll away from the very thing they prayed for because they failed to recognize its value when it appeared. Every time you ignored a spiritual prompting, you unknowingly delayed something that was trying to reach you. Not because heaven was angry with you, but because spiritual timing requires spiritual attention. If a door opens and you refuse to walk through it, eventually that opportunity closes. Divine moments are precious because they do not remain open forever. There are seasons when heaven calls loudly, and if a person continually refuses to respond, silence eventually follows. But today carries a different atmosphere. Something changed the moment you stayed instead of leaving. Something shifted when you decided not to scroll away immediately. Every second you continue listening is restoring connection between your spirit and heaven's timing. You may think this is ordinary, but it is not. There are countless reasons you could have been distracted right now, yet somehow you remained here. No interruption pulled you away. No emergency stole your focus. No person demanded your attention strongly enough to separate you from this message. That is not accidental. Heaven guarded this moment because something important is being released into your spirit right now. The fact that you are still here reveals something powerful about your soul. It reveals hunger. It reveals expectation, it reveals openness, and whenever hunger, expectation, and openness meet together, change becomes unavoidable. Despite disappointments, your heart is still willing to believe. Despite delays, your spirit is still searching. Despite painful experiences, you have not completely shut down. That remaining hope inside you is proof that heaven is not finished with your story. Where hope still exists, miracles can still travel. As long as faith remains alive within a person, impossible situations can still reverse themselves. What looked delayed can suddenly accelerate. What seemed blocked can suddenly open. What felt dead can suddenly breathe again. This is why your decision to stay matters more than you realize. Archangel Michael is using this very moment to strengthen your spirit. Your willingness to remain attentive is becoming an act of obedience. Your choice to keep listening even when doubt whispers, otherwise, is opening spiritual doors that have waited for the right moment to unlock. Things that appeared stuck are beginning to move. Situations that refuse to change are beginning to shift. What has been hidden is beginning to emerge into the light. Take a deep breath and become aware of the atmosphere surrounding you right now. There is a reason your spirit feels stirred. There is a reason something inside your chest feels awakened. Heaven is near. Archangel Michael is standing guard over this moment, ensuring that confusion, fear, and distraction do not interfere with what is being spoken over your life. Now listen carefully, because heaven wants you to understand something important. The difficult seasons you endured were not wasted years. Every painful chapter carried preparation within it. Every rejection redirected you away from paths that would have harmed your future. Every delay built strength you would eventually need. Every closed door protected you from stepping into places that were never assigned to your destiny. Although you could not understand it at the time, heaven was arranging things behind the scenes with precision. And now the season is beginning to change. The breakthrough you have prayed for is no longer distant. The shift has already started. What once felt impossible is moving closer with every passing day. But you cannot disconnect now. You have come too far to lose focus right before the answer arrives. Hear this clearly. Within the next 30 days, you will witness evidence that heaven has been working in your favor. Before this lunar cycle ends, something tangible will happen that confirms this message reached you at the perfect time. For some, it will appear financially. Unexpected provision will arrive from a direction you never imagined. For others, broken relationships will begin healing after long periods of silence and pain. Some will receive opportunities connected to work, promotion, or purpose that feel far beyond what they expected. Others will notice improvements in areas where they had almost surrendered hope completely. Some people listening will suddenly receive ideas capable of transforming their future. Others will encounter individuals whose connections unlock doors that previously seemed unreachable. Heaven has many ways of releasing blessings, and no human limitation can stop what God has decided to release at the appointed time. Remember this day. Remember the feelings surrounding this moment, because very soon you will look back and recognize that this was the turning point. This was the moment the atmosphere around your life began changing. This was the point where fear started losing control and faith began rising again. Right now, receive this word fully within your spirit. Stop questioning whether you are worthy enough. Stop assuming blessings are reserved only for other people. Heaven does not bring messages like this without purpose. If you were guided here, there is a reason attached to your presence. And there is still more you need to hear. This blessing is not meant to stop with you alone. Heaven often releases overflow, so it can touch many lives through one obedient person. That is why the encouragement you receive today must continue moving outward. Someone connected to you is also struggling silently. Someone near you is fighting discouragement, confusion, exhaustion, or hopelessness. They also need reassurance that heaven sees them. They also need confirmation that their season is capable of changing. When you encourage others, something powerful happens spiritually. Generosity creates room for increase. What you release into the lives of others often returns multiplied back into your own life. This is why people who constantly uplift others frequently experience unexpected favor themselves. Heaven responds to open hands and willing hearts. Think about the people around you who need hope restored. Think about those carrying burdens they never speak about openly. Think about those who feel forgotten. Sometimes, one message arrives at the exact moment needed to keep someone from giving up completely. Do not disconnect now, because the final truth is the most important part. The reason this message resonates so deeply with your spirit is because you were never ordinary. You were chosen for a purpose greater than what you currently understand. Your life carries assignment, meaning, and destiny attached to it. The battles you survived were preparing you for responsibility connected to your future. Heaven develops strength inside people before revealing the fullness of their calling. The next chapter ahead of you will not resemble the seasons behind you. Greater favor is approaching. Greater influence is approaching. Greater purpose is approaching. But everything begins with your willingness to believe heaven even before visible evidence appears. This moment matters because decisions made during spiritual moments shape future outcomes. Right now, you must decide whether you will continue living controlled by fear and doubt, or whether you will finally trust that heaven has been guiding your steps all along. Archangel Michael stands beside you as protection surrounds your path. Heaven is supporting you even when circumstances attempt to convince you otherwise. The blessing assigned to your life has not disappeared. The breakthrough meant for you has not been cancelled. The miracle connected to your destiny is still alive. Do not allow doubt to interrupt what faith has started building. Refuse to let fear talk you out of believing again. Stay spiritually awake. Stay expectant. Stay aligned with heaven's movement. This is not the conclusion of your story. It is the beginning of a completely new chapter. There is more favor coming, more revelation coming, more unexpected doors opening, more restoration unfolding. Heaven is not finished speaking over your future, and because you remained until the very end, it proves something about your spirit. It proves your heart is still willing to receive. It proves your soul still recognizes heaven's voice. It proves your faith survived every attack sent against it. Over the next 30 days, pay close attention to the signs around you. Watch how situations suddenly begin shifting. Watch how opportunities appear unexpectedly. Watch how favor begins locating you in unusual ways. What once looked delayed is about to move quickly. Your new season has already started. This very moment marks the beginning. Defy it fully, believe it completely, and step forward expecting heaven to move in ways greater than anything you imagined. Amen.